Hey there, real estate rock stars. Are you tired of the traditional mortgage process with all the hoops and hurdles? Well, what if I told you there was another way to buy and sell property, a way that offers more flexibility and control for both parties? Introducing seller financing, your key to unlocking a smoother real estate transaction. So whether you're a buyer struggling to qualify for traditional mortgage or a seller looking for an alternative to avoid those capital gains taxes, seller financing could be the perfect solution. Today, we'll explore the ins and outs of this creative strategy, highlighting the benefits for both buyers and sellers with some real life examples to bring it all home. All right, so how does seller financing work? In essence, the seller acts like their own bank, financing a portion of the property, the purchase price of the property. The buyer makes regular payments directly to the seller, including the principal and interest. And here is why it can be a win-win. So benefits to the buyers on seller financing. So usually they can qualify with lower credit scores. So traditional lenders often have strict regulations, strict credit score requirements, and seller financing can be more flexible, allowing buyers with lower credit scores to become homeowners, right? So we all know that one. Typically, faster closing times. There's not the mountains of paperwork and long wait times that come with processing traditional mortgages, so seller financing can be extremely streamlined to the closing process, basically as soon as title passes through clear at escrow, right? And another great benefit for the buyers is that you can negotiate the down payment. So depending on the agreement, the buyers may be able to secure the property with a smaller down payment, possibly even no down payment, freeing up additional capital for any renovations or other investment repairs that the new buyer may want to put into the property. All right, so let's look at a real life example. Let's say Sarah finds her dream fixer-upper property, but her credit score isn't quite where it needs to be for a traditional mortgage. The seller, we'll call him John. John is willing to finance a portion of the sale for her, allowing Sarah to secure the property with a smaller down payment and spread the rest of the payments over a fixed period of time with an agreed upon interest rate. This gives Sarah the time she needs to fix up the house and start to build her equity, while John, the seller, earns a steady return on his investment in terms of the interest collected on the property. The benefits to the seller in seller financing is that it will attract a higher pool of buyers. So you have more buyers to choose from, which could lead to a quicker sale and potentially a higher price point for the property. The seller can sell on their terms. They have more control over the financing terms, potentially negotiating a higher interest rate than a traditional loan. Therefore, all of that equates to potentially higher profits. By seller financing, they may be able to command that higher purchase price up front and then also interest on the payments that come in monthly on that property. All right, so let's talk about the passive income stream. So when an owner is selling on seller finance, they are collecting the payments and the interest. So instead of selling your property for a lump sum, you act as the bank for the buyer, financing a portion of the sale. The buyer makes regular payments, typically including the principal and the interest, which then becomes your passive income stream as the seller, as the property or the previous property owner. And this income requires minimal ongoing effort compared to actively managing a rental property, potentially freeing up your time, which is a reason that a lot of property owners do enjoy the idea of seller financing to keep the cash flow and the passive income without the management responsibilities of the property. So talking about some tax benefits for the sellers on seller financing. First, you have the deferral of capital gains taxes. So when you sell a property for a profit, you typically owe capital gains taxes. Well, when you use seller financing, you spread the payments out over a period of time and you kind of defer that tax burden until you receive the full sale price. Also, lower tax rate on capital gains. So depending on how long you've owned the property and your overall income, capital gains taxes can be lower than ordinary income taxes. So by deferring capital gains with seller financing, you may benefit from this lower tax rate when you eventually receive the full payment. Now, let's not forget about potential depreciation deductions. So if your property that you're financing is a rental property, you can still claim depreciation on that property, depreciation and deductions on your taxes, even though you haven't received the full sale price. So these deductions help offset the income you receive from your buyer's payments. All right, so while seller financing sounds like a great idea, a great option, there are still some things to consider before jumping in head first. So some important considerations are the passive versus activity level. So while seller financing is considered a passive income strategy, there can be some upfront work involved in setting up the financing agreement and potential ongoing communication with the buyer. Secondly, of course, with anything, there's going to be a risk. So there's always risk of default. Risk of default, there's a chance the buyer could default on their payments, and it's crucial to have solid legal agreement in place and outlining the consequences of the default, which again is why we recommend always consulting your real estate professionals, tax attorneys, and real estate attorneys as well. So to my third point, it brings me right here to seeking professional advice. Always consult with your team to make sound and legal decisions and agreements in place. They can help you navigate the complexity of capital gains taxes, depreciation deductions, and ensure that you really comply with all IRS regulations. So here's the bottom line. Don't try to navigate seller financing alone. Get the right support team in place, and with that right team of your real estate professional, tax attorney, real estate attorney, you can maximize the benefits of seller financing and navigate the process with confidence. So whether you're a buyer or seller, do your research, seek professional guidance, and make sure this financing option aligns with your goals and your financial situation. So there you have it. Seller financing presents a dynamic alternative to traditional real estate transactions. Remember, it's crucial to do your research, and if you're curious about exploring seller financing as a buyer or seller, click the link below and fill out the form to get in touch with our team. If you'd like to see more videos on seller financing and how it applies in the real world, leave a comment below, seller finance, so we know which videos to make for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful real estate content. And until next time, happy investing.